Good morning. Thank you for joining today's daily webinar. We're going to go over your live questions here on the air. We're also going to go over today's topic is, do I need to make my solo 401k contributions by December 31st? So again, go ahead and type in your questions and we'll answer them here on the live chat as we go over today's topic. Today's presentation is for educational purposes. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. Please also like our video, subscribe to it, as it helps to get the word out to other solopreneurs like yourself. So go ahead and share it with your network as well. One moment here. Okay. So again, today's topic is, do I need to make solo 401k contributions by December 31st? The straightforward answer is no. You technically have until your business tax return due date plus timely filed extension to make contributions to a solo 401k plan. Now, the contribution deadline is driven by how your self-employed business is taxed. And we'll go over those different deadlines for each self-employed business entity type. Another item to understand is that there's a difference between the setup deadline, meaning when the solo 401k plan needs to be set up if you don't have one yet, versus the contribution deadline. And those rules are a little different as well. Let's touch on that for a moment before we continue with information about the contribution deadline for various self-employed entity types. So the solo 401k opening deadline is typically December 31st of each year. So for example, if you open the solo 401k plan by December 31st of 2024, whereby you simply signed all the plan documents, because the signing of the plan documents is what determines if the plan is effective. So if you did that by December 31st of 2024, then yes, you could have made contributions by December 31st of 2024 for tax year 2024, but under the regulations, you have more time. You have specifically until your business tax return due date plus timely filed extension. Here's an example here of the year 2024 solo 401k contribution deadlines. So using the example regarding someone who opened up a solo 401k plan by December 31st, that is, they signed the plan establishment documents, that individual has until this year in 2025 to both open those bank accounts or brokerage accounts, aka the holding accounts for the plan, and make the 2024 contributions. So let's say, for example, your self-employed business is taxed as a sole proprietorship, and you opened the plan by December 31st of 2024. Well, you had until April 15 of 2025 to make all contribution types. That's employee, employer, and voluntary after tax. If you filed for an extension, then your deadline is extended to October 15 of 2025 to make all those contribution types for tax year 2024. Let's do an example of an S corporation. Same example. Let's say you opened the plan by December 31st of 2024. Well, yes, you could have made the contribution by December 31st of 2024 as well, but you did not have to. you actually had until March 17 of 2025 to make all contribution types, whether employee, employer, or voluntary after tax, or Roth, which is encompassed in those different buckets. And if you file for an extension, you have until September 15 of 2025 to make all those contribution types for 2024. So it's driven by when your tax return due date is due, plus extension and a self-employed entity type as to when you have to make contributions. So this December 31st deadline is not for making contributions, but more importantly for when the plan needs to be adopted so that you can make contributions by December 31st or by the tax return due date plus timely filed extension. Or let's take a look at a question here and we'll come back here. So we got a question here. I currently have an owner operated business with a solo 401k that I set up through your firm about a year ago. I'm interested in starting an additional business where I bring on a partner. Okay. What the second part of your question is. The new business will have lots of non-owner employees. Is there a way for me to keep my existing solo 401k plan with my current business if I start an additional business with a partner? Good question. Let's see if you have any follow-up comments on that. The new business will plan for the employees of the business, and I will participate in that plan as well. The new business will have 401k plan for the employees of that business, and I will participate in that plan as well. So, one, if we're referring to a business partner instead of your significant other marriage partner, then as long as that business partner is not related to you, then yes, under certain circumstances, you can have two separate 401k plans. One for your existing business, so you would continue with your existing solo 401k plan. And then you can also open a traditional 401k, aka full-time employer plan, or that is 401k plan for the second business where you are also a partner. Now, some items to consider are the affiliated service group regulations and the control group regulations. If I can jump over to those rules here and touch on it here at a high level. So we have a great page on our website that goes over the control group regulations right there. So these control group regulations and affiliated service group regulations can get complicated rather quickly, but at a high level, and honing in on your particular situation, as long as, let's say, the second business that you're referring to, where you're going to have a partner, as long as that second business does not do business with your existing business, where it's only you, the one that's currently sponsoring the solo 401k plan, then yes, you could also participate in another 401k that's a traditional 401k and continue with your solo 401k plan. Another rule is that you typically cannot own 80% or more of that second business either. So you want to make sure that you keep it under that ownership percentage test. Third, the employees of that second business cannot do work for your self-employed business, even if it's part-time or even if they're doing contracting work. You need to make sure that the employees of that second business are not also working for your self-employed business. So at a high level, those are the items to watch for. Again, take a look at these different categories here for control group regulations. We also have examples and Q&As here. We'll have to do a presentation in the future covering the control group regulations. I'll shoot over this link over here. What is more, you could still contribute to your existing solo 401k plan based on your net self-employment income from your self-employed business. You could also contribute to that other traditional 401k plan based on your earned income from that business. So conceivably, you could contribute to two separate plans. One is the solo 401k plan for your existing self-employed business, and the second one is the full-time employer plan for your other business where you are not a majority owner, or I shouldn't say majority owner, but where you're not an 80% or more owner. Okay, so there's that. Let's see if we have any other questions for now. Looks like we don't have any other new questions for now, but again, feel free to shoot over your questions as we continue with our topic today, which is, do I need to make solo 401k contributions by December 31st? Also, again, please like this video as it helps to get the word out to other solopreneurs like yourself. We've seen a large increase in self-employed individuals through the years, and not all of them know about the solo 401k plan. A lot of them only know about a simple IRA or a SEP IRA. They are not aware that a solo 401k plan may be more beneficial over that type of retirement, of those type of retirement plans, which are also self-employed plans. Okay, let's go back to the prior screen here where we were talking about the contribution deadlines. So picking back up here, let's go over a scenario, a different scenario, because keep in mind that many of you still have time here in 2025 to both open a solo 401k plan and fund it here in 2025 for 2024. That is, the plan would be open this year in 2025 so that you can still make certain types of contributions for tax year 2024. Specifically, if you open a solo 401k plan, right now we're about to go into May of 2025. So let's say that you are self-employed through an S corporation. Well, you can still open a solo 401k plan in 2025 and make 2024 contributions, but only certain types. Specifically, you can make both, you're going to be able to make voluntary after-tax solo 401k contributions and employer profit-sharing contributions. You just will not be able to make employee contributions. Now, let's say that your self-employed business is a sole proprietorship. Well, and let's further assume that you are just now opening the plan in 2025, or that you opened it in 2025 by April 15 of 2025. If you had opened that solo 401k plan by April 15 of 2025, and you would have been able to make employee contributions by April 15 of 2025, and then you could make voluntary after-tax contributions and employer profit-sharing contributions by April 15, or if you file for an extension by October 15 of 2025. If you are just now opening that solo 401k plan in 2025, since we're going into May, then you could still make employer profit-sharing contributions and voluntary after-tax contributions for 2024 by October 15 of 2025. So those are some items to keep in mind regarding contributions and deadlines. Obviously, for 2025, you have plenty of time. So as long as you open that solo 401k plan here in 2025 by December 31st, that is, you sign the plan documents. That doesn't mean you have to open the holding accounts. You just simply need to sign the plan documents. As long as you do that, you're going to have until your business tax return due date plus timely filed extension in 2025 to make all contribution types. That's employee, employer, which encompasses Roth, as well as voluntary after-tax contributions. So if it's a partnership, you would have until March 16 to make of 2026 to make contributions for 2025. If it's an S corporation, same thing, March 16 of 2026. C corporation is April 15 of 2026. Sole proprietorship is April 15 of 2026. And of course, an LLC tax as an S corp would be March 16 of 2026. If it's taxed as a sole proprietorship, it would be April 15 of 2026. So this is a good page to reference on our website, which also has great guides about making contributions, both employer, pre-tax, and Roth, as well as make a backdoor. So take a look at that. So again, the contribution deadline is not December 31st, but rather it's driven by your business tax return due date plus timely filed extension, as well as the self-employed business entity type. All right, I think we are at the end of our time today. Again, thank you for joining today's daily webinar. We'll be live again here in a couple hours. Please like our video as it helps to get the word out to other solopreneurs like yourself. Until tomorrow, have a good rest of the day.